Broken Wolf, Chapter 20. Written by Big Bad Wolves, a fangirl on Wattpad, link in the description below. Today was your first day at UA as an official student. You tugged on your dress, not really used to wearing one. The tie a little uncomfortable around your neck and reminds you of the collar you were forced to wear. So you worried as loose as you could. Walking into the courtyard, you looked at the large building, feeling a little intimidated by the sheer size. The thought of hundreds being inside making your knees feel weak. A reassuring hand landed on your shoulders. Your eyes going to Katsuki beside you. You gave a small smile before he faced the school, letting you drop as you both approached. You walk into the school building to find it surprisingly empty, but as you walk further into the building, the more people you saw. Their gazes would land on you, their conversation stopping or their walk slowing down as they looked at you. Never seeing you roam around the halls before and wondering why you were walking with an explosive boy they knew from the sports festival. Hushed conversations began to start, while the others carried on with their lives or continued the conversation they had once creased. Is she new? Do you think she's a transfer student? Why is she walking with the hot-headed from the sports festival? Why does she look so pale? Why is she wearing her tie so loose? Do you think that they're a thing? She's going to be in class 1A with all the other narcissists, isn't she? Even in your human form, you were able to hear all the questions they asked, feeling their judging eyes that watched you. It reminded you of the arena you were forced to be in, where you would be stared at and judged before bets begin to get placed. How they expected you to be nothing but a bloodthirsty animal. You clutched the straps that went over your chest, having to take Bakugou's spare statue since you overlooked a bag for yourself. Tears pricked in your eyes a little at the memories filling your head. You had lowering to hide it behind your hair. Bakugou noticed, his expression going from an annoyed scowl to concern, but switched back quickly as he glared at the other people around him, seeing a group of girls whispering to each other. He growled a little when he saw that they kept throwing glances at you and him. A group of boys giving you a few stares. Thankfully, you exited the crowded hallway to a much more empty one. Not a tear escaped, and no one getting hurt for Katsuki. Damn extras. He growled, catching your attention onto him, to see that his hands were shaking a little as he tried to calm himself down. The nerve of those bastards. He was referring more to the guys that were clearly checking you out, but he didn't like the girls also starting to spread rumors about you. You couldn't help but smile at his protective nature, looking up at the blonde, the morning sun shining through the large expanses of clear glass walls, and hit his face in such a way that made him look even. Hey, Wayan! A familiar voice yelled, making you look for Bakugou. A small smile now on your lips as Mina waved excitedly and quickly came to you. Ready for your first day? Yeah, I guess. You mumbled, receiving a sudden tug that made you tense up, and looked at her in surprise as she hugged you tightly. This is so exciting! She squealed, making you flinch a little, but still smile. We get to hang out more? You finally are also able to show us how smart you are. This is so amazing! You finally were able to pry her arms off you, smiling at her as she excitedly began to list fun things that you and her could talk about. Midway through her list, your eyes drifted to Bakugou to see that he was also looking at you. Your eyes locked and something was forcing you not to be able to look away. His crimson eyes pulled you in, your thoughts now void except for the thought of him, his eyes seeming to put you in a trance that you could not get out of. He too was lost in your beautiful, sparkly, eye-colored eyes, wanting to dive into them and never resurface with how deep and full they were. Are you going in? A tired, familiar voice said behind you, making you jump. Mina also jumping and grabbing you in a tight hug. Aizawa was standing right behind you, his tired eyes looking at you as he was waiting for you to calm down before going to the large door that you now just noticed. You looked at the giant door, wondering how you missed it as you got at it, wondering if there was a classmate you haven't met that was a giant. Mina let go after the scare, going into the room as you continued just to stare at the door. Bakugou coming up to you and waving his hand in front of your face. Liam, are you there? He asked, grinding you back, dragging you back to reality. Are you sure you're ready for this? Looked at him dead in the eyes and nodded, determined and confident, though you still didn't know how you were with the crowds. Walking into the room, you see that Isawa was now on the floor in a yellow cocoon-like sleeping bag. Confused, you greeted. He didn't walk in with that. Was it left so we could nap? Why is he napping in the middle of class anyway? Oi, Wolfie. Your attention went back to Bakugou, who was pointing at an empty desk, second to the front as he sat down in his seat behind it. You got the hint and sat down, a Gakure sitting down in front of you and waved. At least, that is what it looked like. Jiro sat beside you, a little scuffle behind you telling you that. With you sitting where you were, it got everyone behind you to move one back, made you feel a little guilty, but you couldn't wander any farther on that since class started. A pair of eyes watching you the entire class, making you feel strangely safe. English, Euro Studies, and other subjects you were able to go through with ease. Though President Mike was a little light for your liking, the only challenge for you was lunch, where it was noisy and crowded, but you sat to Katsuki and he made sure to keep you calm. Kuminari, Zero, Mina, and Kashima sat on with you and made you forget that you were in the cafeteria, as you laughed and joked, having a good time and eating lunch versus food that was amazing. After was more classes and hero training, where a skilled blonde guy that could turn into a buff dude called All Might gave pointers and helped everyone with the quirks. Yours was a little more difficult to deal with, since shifting quirks weren't that common. But since your limit was months, and you knew how to control it, there was no actual problem. You just trained with the others, trying to avoid using your claws and teeth, not wanting to accidentally kill someone. And that concluded your first day of UA. A group of men and a few women were standing around the table with a scale model of UA, discussing a plan. A man standing at the head of the table, his eyes shining with want of revenge, as he touched a still healing wound on his side. that was the fanfiction. This is getting very good. Oh my god. But that was all. Have a good night and afternoon. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye!